Hi everyone, Dion Besser from Besser and Co Estate Agents, and thank you for joining us today on Real Talk. Today, our special guests, we've got Luke and Talia from Haus Haus, which is recognised as one of the biggest and best or busiest high-end Brit-owned property agencies in Dubai. Talia and Luke, thank you for joining us today.
See you, Dion.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Dion. Kind words, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. How are you guys going? How's everything in Dubai today?
It's hot, but still lovely outside. We're lucky that the humidity hasn't hit here yet. So yeah, it's really nice, sunny as always, and definitely no rain.
Yeah, it's one of those places, Dion, that if you speak to us probably 350 days of the year, we'll probably tell you there's blue skies and it's above, 25 degrees. So the weather's pretty predictable in this part of the world.
How amazing. There's a lot that we read about in Dubai, how they control the weather and stuff like that. But I think that's a podcast and an interview for another time. So much going on in Dubai. There's a lot going on that we're seeing on TV. There's a lot that we're reading about the Dubai property market. I know a lot of the people who are watching and listening into this interview today are very interested to know exactly what's going on. So you guys ready for a few questions?
Sounds good.
Let's get it started. So, as I said, Haus Haus recognised as one of the busiest high-end Brit-owned property agencies in Dubai. What's it like on the ground over there for you at the moment?
It's, we're coming up to our 10-year anniversary now, so the company has changed a lot, but not only has the company changed quite a lot, the whole kind of infrastructure and the picture of Dubai, the landscape, everything's changed. The mindset has shifted massively. And I think, let's go back, say, 10 years when we first started Haus Haus. When people talked about Dubai, you get a feeling, right? You may have heard things in the paper, you may have read listened to things on the radio. Some people, it could be some people's first choice, it might not be. It was one of those kind of Marmite places, I kind of feel. Middle East, very hot, lots of rules, and maybe concerns from some people to come here, whereas things have just changed massively. It's opened up to the press. Dubai has opened their arms and basically said, if you're somewhere in the world at the moment and maybe you're not happy with your job, maybe you want tax-free, maybe you want to see some more sun, maybe you want to feel ultra safe, let's open our arms and let's welcome you in. So with that, it's just got absolutely crazy. Talia's actually on the shop floor. She's seeing the buyers that are coming in. But, just we pick up, we turn on the internet and, we look at the news headlines. We've got literally every day record sale, record transactions, 50% up on transactions year on year. Nationality, yeah, it's just every single day there's positivity. So it is good. We don't get the negative media. We get the positivity. But it for us, it's make hay while the sun shines. It's probably not going to go on forever. Every kind of place has its time. And at the moment, Dubai seems to be having that time for sure.
So it really does sound like it's as competitive as it seems when you read about it in the news press and on TV. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. To be honest, obviously there's so many agents here in Dubai, obviously everywhere in the world, Australia, whatever else. But the competitive nature of Dubai is incredible. I guess the thing is that, the difference I'd say knowing Australian real estate and obviously being in Dubai now, exclusivity is the only option really in Australia. Maybe you'll have joint exclusive, but there's obviously here, you're looking, you list a property, most likely you're going to have maybe at least 2 to 3 agents working on that house, meaning that obviously it's a fight to the end to which agent's going to sell it. Obviously, if you have multiple properties listed online as well, as the consumer or the buyer, you might inquire with the same agent for 3 properties, which is one basically. And, then it's a race to the end on who's going to close that client or who's going to close that property, right? So it becomes a bit of a fight between the agencies more so than looking after your client, in my opinion, which is why getting exclusive, being exclusive with your agents really is an important thing to do. And what, I'm really trying to push, and House really pushes exclusivity and tries to make sure that that's something, and, that we all do.
So tell me, I'm going to deviate from the questions just a little bit here, but is there one main portal, one main website, or two main websites in Dubai that advertise properties, or is it really like it was in Melbourne in the good old days? Agents had their Rolodex of buyers, they had those buyers, and they could only introduce from that database.
So there's Property Finder, there's Besser, and there's Beirut. So I would say, in comparison, your Property Finder would be your realestate.com. Your domain, or your Beirut would be your domain, and then there's Besser as well. So yeah, there's three main portals in Dubai that you are looking for properties.
It's quite interesting when we talk about the kind of the growth, and as the company owner, it's probably the first time, probably since I've either done the job as a real estate broker or as a company owner, that I'm not having brokers or agents coming to me daily saying, we need to spend more on marketing, we need more leads. So the portals at the moment are just feeding thousands of leads. Pretty crazy, Dion. We probably aren't catering for the leads as well as we would like, purely because the broker's mindset as well. If they don't answer the phone, I'll call them back later. But then they forget because they know that they're going to get another 5, 6, 7 leads that day. So leads are just pumping in ridiculously, and that's just showing what the market conditions are. The service levels have probably dropped back slightly because brokers, no disrespect to the caliber of agent in Dubai at the moment, I believe Haus Haus would have one of the strongest, most professional agents, but you don't have to be good to be great and sell property in Dubai real estate at the moment. You can just take that right call and you can make a hell of a lot of money. As Tali and I were talking before this about someone who joined the company. He's actually an Aussie. He's an Australian guy.
Yeah.
He's joined 3 months ago. He's written about 5 million dirhams.
Yeah, which is 2 million Australian dollars.
So he's going to be taking home $1 million Aussie dollars in
his
3
pocket,
months. Yeah.
and no tax.
Yeah, no tax.
Unbelievable. That's a really good segue into the next question, which is a little bit about the market and the growth that you guys have been seeing there. I mean, projections for 2023, we're obviously a quarter of the way through that already, indicate a 46% jump, particularly in the residential sector. Clearly, you're seeing that firsthand. Are those numbers accurate?
I think the difficulty with the numbers are, whereas probably you are used to, and again, what I was used to at the UK, is the data that goes out there is pretty much spot on. A property transact for that value. Someone checks online a couple of days, the neighbour checks, they can see what that client has paid, the date, the house number, or the suburb. Here, the numbers can go out there, and sometimes they're correct, sometimes they're not, depending on the person that's inputted the data. The data's only really become freely available in the last kind of 12 months. Then you've got some companies that are jumping on the data wagon and saying, okay, there's been a 40% increase, but that could just be a 46% increase in that company, what they're doing. So it's a very small, like they could be doing 1% of the market. If looking at 46%, I would say it's higher than that. I would say you could be like 60, 70% increase. It's depending on, on a averages. You find places where Talia works, Arabian ranches. I don't think it would, you could be 60, 70% on some of these properties too at the moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of these properties that have, they're 20 years old. They were built 20 years ago. They're tired. They needed new kitchens, new bathrooms. Owners have realised that if I put some nice appliances in there, put a nice kitchen in it, upgrade my pool, then I can probably sell it for 60, 70, 80% more, because there's a frenzy of buyers coming in with lots of money, whether, that's crypto money or whatever it is, and they're willing to pay a peak price. So even on some of them, Talia's got a property at the moment. I think the client pays 5 million, 6 million. He's now, he's done it up. He's probably spent 2 million on it. He's now got an offer of 12. So, it's 100% increase. So it is crazy, yeah, for sure. Yeah. But it is down to, everyone says Dubai, cranes in the skies, building, building, building. It is true, but we have a massive undersupply in property. We have more people moving to the country, wanting to live here and wanting to get somewhere to live, and we don't have the properties to give them.
There's too many buyers to properties right now. Like, the supply and demand issue, definitely with the villas as well, in the villa communities, I've never seen anything like it, to be honest. Like, you've got 10 buyers wanting something ready to put their cash in, and I don't have anything for them. It's just, yeah, crazy, really.
Dubai. I know there's a lot of people that are watching and listening in on this that have been to Dubai. Some are looking for properties. Some have already bought properties over there. I was just talking to a client of mine who just got back from Dubai the other day, bought his second property over there on the Palm Island. But let's talk a little bit about the areas over there. And what would you say is the highest transacting area in Dubai at the moment?
Everyone seems to be wanting to buy in the Palm Jumeirah. The thing with the Palm Jumeirah is, I don't know, if you go, whether you want to walk down the street in London or you want to walk down the street in Melbourne or Sydney, someone's heard of it. 9 out of 10 people have heard of the Palm Jumeirah. It tends to be one of those locations, like if I say, okay, I want to move to Sydney, okay, put me somewhere close to the Opera House because it's the only place I know. And that tends to be what a lot of buyers would be saying if I want something with a view, and they've heard of the Palm Jumeirah or the Marina. So the Palm Jumeirah, yeah, it's got the sea, it's got, you've got hotels opening that are spending $100 million on getting Beyonce to open the hotel. You've got Michelin star restaurants. You've got some wicked bars and restaurants, a cool vibe, chilled out, centrally located. If you look at Dubai on the map, it's kind of got Sheikh Zayed Road running down the side of it. So whether you want to go to Abu Dhabi or to the other Emirates, you're very close. It's just a cool place, and it's obviously only got so much land because it's a man-made island. There's and it is what it is. So once that is done, Dion, you can't keep building up or building to the side that it's not there. So going back to your previous question about growth, some of these signature villas were 20, 25 million dirhams. Now you probably can't find a signature villa for under 50 million. You've got a transaction taking place. Talia and I were talking at about an apartment, $33 million US dollars, which would be about 50 million Aussie dollars, something like that, right? 12,000 square foot apartment. So, and these are people from outside as well. They're not from Dubai. They're outside. Some might be using it from a holiday home. Some might be spending 3, 4, 6, 8 weeks a year. But
and it's off plan, right? So it's not even done yet. So it's going to be done, maybe in, let's say, 5 years or so. And these are the kind of figures that these off plan projects are getting at the moment. 33
million US dollars for something off the plan that will be ready in 5 years. Did I just hear you correctly?
Yes, indeed you did. Yeah.
That's incredible.
What's interesting as well is that a lot of these brands have associated with the developers. So you've got a lot of, the Six Senses have associated with certain developers, and they start selling for ridiculous prices. Bulgari residences. You've got numerous Bentley residences. You've got all these kind of fancy places that are now tying in with brands, whether it's Dior or Chanel, all these different places that are associating, and people like to buy properties in something that has that name. And that's what I think, was when we're talking about the Australian broker who's actually done record numbers in the last 3 months. His client said, I want to buy property, but I want to buy property that's associated with brands in ridiculously good locations.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the people that are coming in and why they're coming in droves by the sounds of it. I mean, there's been a lot of changes to the visas and what they're offering in terms of long-term residence visas, up to 10 years for certain categories of international buyers. How much impact has these visas and the policies around those visas had on people coming into the country?
Like I say, they've opened their arms, Dion, and basically said, you want to move to, if you want to move to the UK, I know you were there previously, or anyone else wants to move there, it's not an easy process, regardless of whether you're from. Yes, certain countries you will have slightly easier routes, but it's not easy. If I want to move to Australia, it's not going to be particularly easy. So when you look around, if someone is I think we've come out of that COVID era, and I think people have a different perspective on life. And I think there's a lot of people that were thinking, well, what shall we do? Maybe we were living in an apartment, we didn't have a garden. Let's move to a house with a garden. Actually, why have you ever thought about moving abroad? And that's what Dubai's opened its arms, made it very, very easy. So if you want to move here today, you've got to spend about 2 million dirhams, which is going to be on a conversion.
2 million dirhams is approximately about $800,000 approximately.
So you've got to invest $800,000 Aussie dollars, and then you will be entitled to a 10-year visa. Now, it's not that difficult, Dion, to do it as well. So you invest it, you buy it, and you will be given a 10-year visa to come in and out as freely as you like. If you don't want to spend 2 million dirhams, you can spend half of that, and you can get, a 2-year visa, which is renewable. But it's all pretty straightforward in order to do this. There's not loads of paperwork and checks and let me see a marriage certificate, let me see this certificate, let me see your degree. It's really easy to do it. Okay, you want to move here as well, and maybe you want to work from here. Okay, you can go for a worker's visa, which will entitle you to work. Co-working spaces dotting up everywhere. It's really, really easy to come in now. And, even I think without visas, you can come in today on passports and get 90, 100, 120 days just by turning up at the airport.
They've made it really easy, really, really easy for people to come. They obviously want people to come here and live. There's, I guess in terms of the people that are coming in nationalities, obviously there's, Russians, a lot of Russians are coming due to what's going on in their own countries maybe. Then there's also a lot of people from Europe, a lot of Europeans that are moving over here, we're finding. I'm getting a lot of leads from people from Singapore. So there's a lot of people moving from Singapore, so obviously being another expat area as well. There's a lot of people looking to come over here. And that's basically the main caliber of clients that we're seeing. I guess after COVID, maybe due to the rules that certain places had put in place, I think a lot of people were really unhappy with that, or maybe what their government's putting in place. So being here where there's not much media, not much discussion going on about, you can do this, you can't do that. It's a little bit different in how they run the place. And obviously you here not paying tax for business and whatever else.
My favorite question that I've got here, and something I've been talking about with friends over the last couple of weeks, let's talk Dubai Hustle. I believe you guys were featured on the TV show. For those of you who don't know what Dubai Hustle is, it's a featured show on BBC Three. It's a mini series, and you guys participated in that. Tell us a little bit about that.
Definitely, this has got Talia as the star of the show, so she's got to answer this one. Actually, believe, didn't it go out in Australia?
Yeah,
recently, a couple of weeks ago. I don't know on what channel, but I think it was like a good timing. It was like 9 p.m. or something, so I would have thought it might have quite a few viewers. But yeah, Talia was the star of the show, so she can let you know a bit more about that.
I don't know how to talk about this because I wasn't really in the loop.
Well, the first show was basically, Dion, it wasn't like your typical reality shows that I think we see on Netflix, where, I don't know, you've got really glamorous, super successful Aussie agents or US agents making shed loads of money, driving really flash cars, turning up at really flash properties. Our show was quite different. You would find someone that's come out of a lower class background within the UK, probably working in an estate agent in a not particular great area of the UK, thinking, what can I do in life? What is out there? Because there's prospects and the whole general feeling, I'm not trying to put the UK down, but it's not the most positive place to be. So there's people thinking, well, jobs are difficult to find, jobs getting paid well are difficult to find. So the program was aimed at bringing 20 to 25-year-olds out of the UK and saying, look, it's a commission-only job. You're probably going to work harder than you've ever worked. But if I then replace that with a salary that probably you wouldn't earn for 10 years in a normal job in the UK, would you do it? And they're like, yes, we'll try it. So we get some sun, we get tax-free money, we get to be around some ridiculously good shopping facilities, bars, restaurants, nightclubs. And it just shows these brokers that, real life, that some do it and some don't. And that's what I think we try to do differently to the other shows, to say, not everyone makes, ridiculous amounts of money. Not everyone has ridiculous watches and wears pinstripe suits, So we've got the good, the bad, the ugly of real estate and put it out there and just try to show on a TV series, this is actually what happens. We don't just sit back answering calls and making millions of dollars. There's a lot of difficult, hard work that goes into it. And I think that's probably what you struggle to find on a lot of the reality shows is, we turn up looking glamorous, we do an open house, we give someone a glass of champagne, we invite a load of really successful agents, someone starts talking really good numbers.
But the deal's done.
Yeah,
the deal's done. You make one phone call and here's the offer. Great, let's close the deal today. Which, as we know, and you know, Dee, it's not as easy as that to just close a deal. There's a lot of work and time and effort that goes into it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what it did, it actually showed our website traffic increased by about 1,000% after the show was launched. So that was partly due to everyone just obviously not wanting to be in the UK, and then people just seeing. I think I'm not sure what the papers are saying about the Middle East in Australia, but there's a lot of good press even in the UK at the moment. You've even got to go onto different socials, Instagram, and you see your friends out in Dubai and in beach clubs and all these things. You're like, let's try it, let's see it, and I think the whole perspective about Dubai has changed. So Dubai Hustle, Talia came in second series.
Yes.
We brought in some international casts. So Talia with the Australian roots, and we had some Canadians in. So Dubai is at the moment 94% of it are expats, and that's from all over the world. So you've just got a whole range of people, and that's what the second series has done, is brought in a different kind of cast member, but showing the good properties and the not so good properties.
Dubai is described as the playground for the rich and famous, right? The super rich, with high stakes, cutthroat real estate culture. Are you saying that some of that is dramatization, or is there any truth to any of that we're seeing on TV?
It's basically true, Dion. Honestly, I think that this place, you drive around the streets, you are going to see a lot of luxurious cars. Kind of how I would describe it is that there's so many of them that you don't even realize how many beautiful cars there are, because a lot of people do have that, especially in some of the areas such as the Palm and whatever else. There's a lot of money coming in here, a lot of, talk about even just when you buy a property, which I don't remember this being the case much in Oz, where, you buy with full cash for, hundreds of millions of dirhams. So it definitely is a playground for the super rich in some areas. Then there's some areas that, there's, people, expats, they want to live in a nice family community. They're making great money, and they have beautiful homes. So there's a lot of different levels, I would say, in Dubai. Some being, that ultra, luxurious, sitting on a 200 million dirham, 300 million dirham property on the Palm. And then others, in nice areas as well.
Yeah, private jets and yachts and these things are out here full force. I think what's really noticeable as well is if you're here for a bit is the age of it as well. So when you've got the kind of the 20 to 40 that maybe want to be a bit more flash, be a bit more extravagant, and safety as well, right? They can wear $100,000+ watches and not literally fear for your life that you're going to get stabbed or shot. Then it makes a difference, because people can to wear the bags, wear the watches, and be comfortable. That even if you put it down or you lose it, it'll probably be handed into the restaurant or the bar or the place that you've lost it. So it's safety's a big thing. That's probably, I don't know, it's got to be the number one factor for a lot of families to think, well, if I'm living in the US, there's some horrible stories coming out of there with the violence. You've got the same in the UK, you've got the same in a lot of Europe. I want to go somewhere safe, and I want to be flash, and I want to park my car there tonight, and I want to see it there tomorrow, and I want to unlock. I have it unlocked and leave my watch on the passenger seat, and it'll still be there, and your watch will be there. It's like, it is crazy, but it's true. It really is true.
It really is amazing how, this is something I wasn't going to ask you, but Dubai is considered one of the safest places in the world. That really does surprise a lot of people when you say that for the first time if they know nothing about Dubai. So I mean, you're saying that is genuinely as true as you say it.
But yeah, it is, honestly, there's so much stuff going out on the socials, but leave your laptop in Starbucks, go shopping for 2 hours, come back, your laptop 99.9% is just still going to be there. I would say, my wife went into the ladies. She took her watch off. She washed her hands, forgot her watch, went back. 30 minutes later, it's still there. I'm sure there are things that do happen, but often you'll see that someone's come over with a load of cash, left it in a taxi, and then I think what's then happened is, and the taxi's then returned it. But I think what's happened is these stories go out in the press. So if you're the good citizen that has just returned that $100,000 watch or found $100,000 cash and you return it, they really put it in the media and they kind of reward these people. So they give them a bit of like social, as well. So, and that's what people like. So
bit of incentive, right?
It is, and you genuinely can't feel safer anywhere else in the world. It's safe. Like, I don't know. T as a lady, I'm sure you can go running at 3 a.m. at any part of Dubai, and you're going to be.
Yeah, you feel really safe, and sometimes actually when you travel, you kind of get used to that, mentality where you can leave things around. So you've got to obviously be careful with that because you're so used to it. Like,
we are considered very safe here in Melbourne compared to many other parts of the world, but still, you would not keep your doors unlocked.
Yeah, exactly.
We're building a lot of homes here at the moment. I was back in the UK because I'm doing a property there. And, when I met the builder, he was on about, okay, so what alarm system are you using? I'm like, oh, well, I didn't think of that. Okay, just give me whatever you think. But, the amount of builds that are going on here, the amount of luxury it has is, when was the last time you or I went into one and there's an alarm system?
No alarm.
There is no. It's like, it just doesn't, if you open an alarm system company in Dubai, you're probably going to go bust pretty quickly because it's not called for.
Okay, good food for thought. Anyone who's watching this who's thinking about opening an alarm company in Dubai, probably not the best idea. Listen, guys, thank you so much for joining us on Real Talk. There are going to be so many people who I'm sure are watching and listening to this who are now tempted to probably give you guys a call and say, hey, have you got a job for me? I really appreciate Luke and Tal. Thank you for joining us today to give us a bit of insight as to what's actually going on in Dubai. For those of you watching and listening to Real Talk, thank you very much for joining us, and I look forward to meeting you soon.